Now it's time for Lefties losing it. And a week into the Trump presidency and Trump derangement syndrome has well and truly hit its stride. So deranged, in fact, that lefties appear to think that all Mexicans in the US are illegal. Because if you voted for Trump, now you can't eat Mexican food.
Listen, if I pull up to the Mexican restaurant and I see a truck, because let's face it, it's going to be a truck, with a Trump bumper sticker, you're getting keyed. I don't even want to see you at Taco Bell. The only thing you get to eat for the rest of your life is plain white bread and mayonnaise. And I know that you were going to eat a lot of that anyway, but that's all you deserve. You deserve nothing that tastes good for the rest of your life.
Or if you voted for Trump, you can't go to Mexico.
And let me make something absolutely clear, unless it wasn't already. If you voted for Trump, you are not allowed in Mexico. You are not allowed in Cabos, Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Aguascalientes, none of that. Guess what, baby? That's all in Mexico. You don't like us, we don't like you. Don't go there. Stay in your country. Figure it out.
The raging irony is that to travel between countries, you usually need some form of identification and to enter at a formal port of entry. It's the people without ID who are jumping the fences that are the current cause for concern. How people can't or won't understand the difference is beyond me. And while the threat of cancel culture is waning, this is true, it still rears its ugly head on occasion. Now, the singer Jules, she performed at RFK's Make America Healthy Again ball. Which was met with such severe backlash that she had to issue an apology for causing pain.
I'm so sorry that I caused pain, especially in my LGBTQIA+ community, because you guys are treasures. You make the world a better place.
Never mind the pain that is caused by poor access to healthcare, poor therapeutic regulation, poor diet and its associated health complications. Amongst many things, I'll never understand why Americans seem to eat like healthcare is free. Anyway, despite all that, an apology was apparently warranted because feelings. It's actually so perverse, I have no more words. And with much discussion, change of policy and rancour surrounding the deportation of illegal immigrants, one TikToker advised Americans to interfere with ICE agents.
We should try to make it as much as uncomfortable for the ICE agents as possible. You see a group of them going to lunch, dinner, breakfast to a restaurant you're working at, and you happen to be Hispanic, and you happen to be in the kitchen, spit on their food, do unhuman things to their food.
Another claimed she was willing to land herself in jail.
If ICE comes into my school, I'm going to jail. Full stop, I'm going to jail. Y'all gonna have to come get me out of jail. Honey, because there ain't no way you're taking my students.
And then there's this.
ICE can now raid classrooms, and as a high school teacher, I just want to make one thing clear. If someone tries to come in my classroom and take one of my students, one of us isn't leaving the classroom. Play with me.
Fortunately, the new US leadership is having none of it.
I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted, and because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
I don't care either, Margaret. And anyway, that's today's snapshot of the total stupidity of the modern left. It's been a memorable week in US politics with the return of Donald Trump to the White House. Compared to the lethargy of the last 4 years, it feels like we've all of a sudden been plunged into a cold bath. Here is a video highlighting what Trump has called the most historic 100 hours in office.
The golden age of America begins right now. America's decline is over. We will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth.
Joining me now is comedian and host of Primetime with Alex Stein on Blaze TV, the man himself, Alex Stein. Alex, Trump is organised and not wasting time this time round.
No, Donald Trump is not wasting time. He's setting the tone of his presidency, right from the start, that he means business, that he's done messing around, letting other countries just walk to our country and become asylum seekers. He's done with that. He's realized that we have a serious issue at the border, and that's why he's putting troops there. He's helping all the January 6ers get pardoned because the Department of Justice was weaponized against American citizens. So just the tone that he set this early, I think it's going to be a wild 4 years, especially for the liberals that are probably shaking in their boots right now, especially the illegal immigrants, after seeing, that Donald Trump was not kidding. He is doing what he said that he was going to do on the campaign trail.
And Trump has signed a number of executive orders, but including one to release the JFK, RFK and Martin Luther King assassination files. What should we expect here?
Well, there's so many files I saw online that even though they gave us 99% of the files, there's still so much to go through, and that the Martin Luther King family didn't want some of the information to come out because if you look at that information, there's some weird stuff that Martin Luther King maybe was doing some weird, nefarious stuff. Now, I think we're going to find out that a lot of people in America were doing nefarious stuff, and that's why they didn't want all this information to get out. But luckily, Donald Trump, in his 4 years when he was president, got railroaded the whole entire time. So he's not going to waste 1 minute not accomplishing all the goals and tasks that he set forth during his campaign. So this is just another indication that he's going to give us governmental transparency that everybody in America is craving. So, God bless America and God bless the future when it comes to Donald Trump as president.
And he's definitely a lot more organised this time around. There were parts of his last term in presidency where they were a bit chaotic. This time here, he seems to have thought things through much better.
Well, yeah, I think now, looking back, it was terrible that he didn't win in 2020, but really, this is probably the best thing that could have happened, because if it was the other way around and that he won, now he would be out of office right now and they would be opening up the border. So it would be a total opposite situation potentially than what we're having now. So it was actually a blessing that he lost. Everybody got to see how terrible the country is doing under the Biden regime and the Kamala Harris regime. So now they're going to appreciate Donald Trump that much more. And I'm ready for our gas prices to go down. I know that's next. So just wait. The cost of living is going to go down for your average American very soon.
Well, a lot of people have obviously been very welcoming of a Trump return. But in the wake of that return and his visit to California, and obviously those wildfires in Los Angeles continue to rage, but there are moves afoot in California for California to secede from the United States. Now, what's the process here, and does it have a snowball's chance?
Well, I'm in Dallas, Texas, and a lot of Texans want to Texit. They want us to secede from America. And now that Donald Trump's in power, I don't agree with that. But if California wants to go, California, see you later. They're doing all kinds of weird gender reassignment surgery for kids. They let biological males compete against biological females, all because they put on a dress for a few periods during class. So, California's gone so crazy and they're so woke that at this point, let them have their little crazy euphoria where nothing works and everything gets burned down and they can't even, fill up their water reserves to stop a fire. So go ahead. If California wants to become its own country, I'll just let them basically destroy themselves from the inside out.
Is there anything you'll miss, though, if California goes?
Well, of course. California is a beautiful state. Don't get me wrong. California is an epic place. It used to be kind of the pinnacle of cool. Everybody used to like Hollywood until we realized that they're all best friends with Jeffrey Epstein and they're all best friends with Harvey Weinstein, and that Hollywood has lost a lot of its luster that it once had. So California was once a great state, but I mean, just look at it burning down. San Francisco, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, covered in, human excrement. I mean, so this is not a joke. This is a serious thing that fire hydrants don't have water to put out fires. So California did this to themselves. And until they make some major changes, it's only going to keep heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it has got that failed state whiff to it, doesn't it? Now, under the Biden administration, there were moves to substantially increase the number of agents working for the IRS. Now, I understand the brakes have gone on, but what's Trump's plan for these new hires?
He needs to get them the heck out of here. We don't need any more IRS agents. IRS, nobody likes the IRS. Just the fact that the Biden administration hired that many, enough to fill up a football stadium, shows you that the Biden administration does not care about American citizens. And we get taxed out the wazoo. So I think Donald Trump realizes that these people have jobs. The previous administration gave them some sort of promise that they were going to hire them, but I don't care about any of that. Donald Trump needs to fire every single one of them. We need less IRS agents, not more, to help in our quality of life here.
Well, and that would definitely fit in very tightly with having a smaller government, which is something that he has absolutely been championing. Now, when I woke up this morning here in Perth, Western Australia, I saw this rather eventful exchange between the US and Colombia over the repatriation of illegal immigrants. What's happened and what's the latest on that? Where do things stand?
Well, you saw the about face from the Colombian president. It's so great. Gustavo buckled under the pressure of Donald Trump, just saying that he was going to raise tariffs. And what's so good about this is that we don't have to go to war with these foreign countries. All we need to do is just put rules and regulations and tax them, and then we can actually solve these problems. You look at all the money that's wasted in the Ukraine right now, fighting that proxy war, just all over the world. We can come to an agreement through negotiation and solve these problems. And you saw with Colombia, that's a perfect example of what Donald Trump's going to do going forward when other countries want to send us all their criminals, want to empty their jails, and when we try to bring them back to their country, they better accept them, or else there's going to be serious consequences when it comes to our geopolitical relations.
And what has been the reaction from some of those other countries in relation to the repatriation of illegal immigrants?
Well, I mean, I think Mexico and you saw Colombia at first, they were a little hesitant, but now they're realizing that Donald Trump is not joking around and that they have to play ball with this new administration. So, they might not like it. They might not want a bunch of criminals coming back to their country that they excommunicated, but we don't want them here in America. And it's not, and Donald Trump says it clearly, he's not anti-immigration. We just need to vet the people that come into our country. And we're not doing that. We're letting in people that have serious criminal history, that have done serious crimes, and that needs to be fixed. And under Donald Trump, these other countries, they're going to realize that America is not playing around when it comes to immigration happening and asylum happening. When you're a criminal, you're not going to be welcome in the United States any longer. And it's a beautiful sight to see.
Now, Alex, it came as no surprise to me, and I imagine it came as no surprise to you, that the CIA has concluded that COVID-19 likely originated from a China lab leak. Now, there are some people who should frankly be ashamed of themselves and others who are no doubt going through their receipts. It's just another example of the level of rampant stupidity and censorship during COVID, isn't it?
Are you kidding me? And I know you're being sarcastic when you ask me, but this is what makes me so sick about this whole entire thing, is that they knew that this was a virus that got leaked in China, and that we have had histories of SARS, pneumonia. There's been lots of respiratory illnesses, but because they wanted to push out the vaccine, and it makes me sick, all the people that I lost, the people that I love, that weren't able to get proper care because they said that the only remedy was a vaccine. And the only way to get a vaccine without long-term testing was to get it through an emergency use authorization. And you're only able to get that authorization if there's no other remedy. So they lied about the origins of the virus. They lied about fixing the virus. They lied about every single aspect of COVID-19, and they ruined a lot of people's lives. So these people should be held accountable. And I hope, not trying to, cheerlead for Putin, but I would love for Dr. Fauci to get extradited to Russia and face a real trial, because what they did to American people by not giving us any other remedies for pneumonia or the flu. It costs a lot of people and a lot of loved ones their lives, and it just makes me sick.
And there were a lot of us during COVID who asked questions. Those questions obviously were not appreciated. But I do wonder, and I'd be interested in your view on this, if there was to be something similar which happened again, do you think, having gone through the experience we've all gone through, that the same thing would occur, or do you think people would be more likely to push back?
Well, of course, I think people would realize the first time shutting down during the pandemic was not the best choice for our country. And yes, if this happens again, which I'm sure it will, because there are viruses, you know, we've had this before. Like I said, SARS didn't just come around in 2020. We've had other issues with sudden acute respiratory syndrome. I mean, so yes, it's going to happen again. And the next time it happens, they're not going to be able to bamboozle the people. They will be able to shut stuff down. They will be able to give people vaccines again, for sure. But we're going to be a lot more cognizant and ask the appropriate questions and hopefully get the appropriate answers and not let this same thing happen. I really find it hard to believe that they could do this to the extent that they did it the first time ever again. But will they do it again? Will there be other pandemics and, you know, viral issues? Yes, but a lot of people woke up from this first one.
Yeah, I hope so, because definitely here in Australia, you know, for a country that is renowned for its larrikins, oh my God, were we very, very compliant, and frankly, it's a bit terrifying. Now, lastly, there have been calls for Trump's face to be included on Mount Rushmore. Should it happen, or should we just wait and see first?
No, it needs to happen. They need to put him on the $100 bill. They need to pump Trump up. And honestly, you know, I know this is kind of a comical thing to put him on Mount Rushmore, but honestly, I wouldn't. I would love it. I wouldn't disapprove of it. I would approve of it wholeheartedly. Are they going to actually do it? I don't know. But Donald Trump deserves, and especially after this 4 years, to be treated like the legend that he is. And in my opinion, I think he won 3 elections, not just 2. I don't really believe a lot of the mail-in ballots when it came into the 2020 election. So he's one of the only presidents, in my opinion, to win 3 elections. So he deserves to be on Mount Rushmore just because of that fact alone.
Thank you so much for your time, Alex Stein.